Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.
Oscar BEVIS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted today to be joined from Southampton via Zoom by a good friend of the channel, Siesta. How are you, mate?
Very nice to hear, and I'm a good friend of the channel. It's very flattering. I'm very well, bro. In Southampton, in the cafe tea room called Metrics. I love it. I'm here every day drinking loads of green tea and working. I love the environment. It's a bit rainy outside, otherwise I love it.
Nice little plug for the cafe. I'll try to jump straight into the Cold War stuff. I mean, the Minsk revolution continues. I've just got off a Zoom call with a senior Byfield, and he is like a kid at Christmas, mate. I mean, there's a good few names in the next two.
No, it's good, man. It's good. It's good. I seen he's not a stranger to Minsk scene anymore. They love him there.
I mean, you've got the likes of Edward Trianovsky, Renaud Garrido, the Lionheart, someone that the UK fans know well. Can you sort of see a growth in Cold Wars as we're going on?
Man, I'm hoping for the Cold Wars to grow. That's the idea, really. I mean, improve with card to card, with event to event, and series to series. That's what it is. I mean, start slowly and then grow over 5, 6 series into something very, very serious and significant. I mean, it's one thing me wanting that to grow, but the broadcasters, the sponsors, the bookmakers, and the general public and boxing fans need to really enjoy this series as much as I do. And if we all together grow together and develop together, then you never know, might become a regular big thing, you know?
How would you say the first couple of shows have been received as well from the boxing public?
I think it was very positive. I didn't have much time to advertise, considering that. It was brilliant. I mean, it got some sort of momentum. Locals loved it. Russians loved it. The Brits who saw the programs loved it as well. Obviously, it could have improved in terms of production, and it will, because I had quite limited budget. I've got better budget now. So hopefully, the Cold Wars 2 will make a big impact in terms of everything. Fights, matching, credibility, you know. Looking forward to it.
I mean, you were meant to speak before the Cold War show at the beginning of August, I believe. And I was told you were busy, and it was like you were doing everything. Like it was just you working as a one-man band.
Man, I was teleporting. I'm telling you, I was flying to stratosphere and back every 15 seconds. I'm telling you. Now I've got a very strong team around me. I've got minimum 8 people working at the moment, so I can focus on deals, focus on promo, and kind of on strategy of the company, you know, to grow the brand, to make some fights as far as March 2021. So that's how it should be. And, you know, that's an evolution, really. So it's easier for me now. I'm much more calmer. I was like, my medium pulse at that time was about 90. So now I just had a count, it's about 73, meaning that I'm more relaxed and more positive and more constructive. Because as you know, when you're stressed, the cortisol, which is a stress hormone, shrinks your corridor. You can't think straight. It turns it that narrow, so you can't comprehend and straight and think straight. You know, do you know that feeling? So
I know what feeling you mean, yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm much more creative and much more relaxed, and hopefully that will positively backfire on Cold Wars 2, you know?
I think it's positive to hear, like, you talk about making fights potentially for next March as well. But have you been able to take from the first couple of shows that you, and going forward, that you can sort of pickpocket little talent from this as well? You make these fights and then you see little gems. So when boxing opens up more worldwide, you can see these fighters and take them into Siesta promotions, and you can sort of do your stuff when boxing opens up a bit more.
100%. That's a very good question, because at the moment, there's a circuit of about 50 fighters that being auditioned. As we talk, sparring sessions, Cold Wars, like feedbacks from people I trust. and I'm trying to build a really good stable. And when I've got that 25, 30 fighters, which I think going to go at decent length, then the test will begin. And naturally will create Cold Wars League, which I can audition them and try them out. In Britain, France, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Armenia, you know, and hopefully even the United States, you know. So let's see. I mean, let's learn to walk before we're running with Cold Wars. But it is on the agenda. You're right.
I just want to talk about, you got the involvement of Dmitry Chudinov. Now, the other day, Eddie Hearn was talking to Coogan about potential opponents for Billy Joe Saunders, and he mentioned Dmitry Chudinov. I just want to clear this up. Did he mean Fedor Chudinov?
100%. Eddie meant Fedor Chudinov.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, check this out. Chudinov's. There's a freak situation, and I tell you why. Fedor is exactly a year younger than Dmitry, but so much exactly that they both born on 15th of September with a year difference. I reckon there's some sort of birth certificate mistake. But the worst thing, that I also was born on 15th of September. So we celebrate Fedor, me and Dmitry, birthday in the same day. But I think Eddie definitely meant Chudinov, Fedor, because Fedor is WBA golden champion, and I think is the #1 or #2 contender at super middleweight. But Dmitry is also a big name, and Jermaine Brown having the opportunity. This is the miracle that Siesta Boxing can deliver in terms of profile fights for some novices like Jermaine Brown. You know, there's nothing impossible in my company. Trust me.
Well, that's what Cold Wars is bringing us. I did just have to clear that up, because when he said Dmitry Chudinov at the time, I can imagine there are a few people thinking that he would have meant Fedor. I want to talk about Billy Joe's opponents, actually, and your thoughts. I mean, we was at Smith Ryder, me and you, and I spoke to you afterwards. John Ryder's been one of the names chucked in the mix for Billy Joe. Martin Murray and Rocky Fielding as well. It's been kept very UK-based, apart from Fedor Chudinov. What do you make of those names for Billy Joe?
Fantastic names. Every single name is a credible opponent. I think John Ryder is his game. He's quite aggressive, very violent fighter he is. So for Billy Joe Saunders, I mean, I don't know in comparison to David Lemieux if he's got the levels. I don't think he's got that punching power, but he's definitely got that Jack Russell attitude, hang on you and make you absolutely claustrophobic, John Ryder. So Billy Joe Saunders has to be fit and absolute game in order to handle him. That's the fight I'd love to see. Obviously, Callum Smith would be a brilliant fight. And because Callum comes to fight, very pre-calculated. I mean, remind me Mikey Garcia, or in 168 pounds, you know, very well tucked in, very economical, but still very aggressive. Great. Rocky Fielding is okay. Look, all those fights which you just mentioned are very credible. And knowing the restrictions that we've got with COVID-19, I mean, any of those fights deserve attention. You know, they're all fair fights.
Talk about these restrictions, and the restrictions are one thing that didn't allow a crowd in for your man Luther Clay's fight with Chris Congo. I remember you spoke to Umar, I think it was the day after or 2 days after, and you sort of highlighted the fact that, you know, you did say fair play to Chris, you put praise on Chris's shoulders for the performance, but because you highlighted where it went wrong for Luther, you could see like a clear path for him to come back and make waves in the division. Have you spoken to him since about where we go from here?
Yeah, he's very, very positive. You see, good thing about Luther, he's a natural warrior and man who's got a lot of self-critique and understanding of the game and just a human concept of learning. He is actually grateful to Chris Congo for that lesson. And genuinely, I mean, there's no resentment. He goes, mate, I need to try to fight rangy fighters to actually understand the architecture of how to kind of approach this length and the distance. And I mean, Chris has a good timing. I mean, Chris praised Luther and he said, guys, please do not underestimate his physical presence. And I think Luther was a bit negligent. Both Luther Clay and Chris Congo learned a lot from this fight, you know, a lot. And they're going to go far. And I do believe somewhere further down the line, I'll make it credible for Chris Congo to have that rematch. So not just take rematch against Luther Clay because there's nothing on the table apart from that. But actually put Luther in a circumstance where fighting Luther Clay again will be beneficial for Chris Kongo. I'm hoping. How will I create that? I don't know yet, but I will.
Yeah, well, that was actually going to be my next question. Is it about trying to get them two back in together, but not just doing it, sort of like you said, for the sake of what's there? But if we are going to see Luther return, let's say before the end of the year or early next year, is it going to be something quite low key, or are we just going to chuck him back in with a big fight?
No, I mean, proper go against durable Russian man, or maybe some series 10 round. You know, there's no. I mean, look, there's a setback, but not. I mean, Luther knows where he went wrong. And us talking, oh, I lost confidence. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. That's not for Russians. Sorry, for me. We don't. I mean, you need to go and perform. You go straight to the lions. Then again, swimming in the deeper waters, and just like that's what it is. You're a gladiator. You know. Imagine you're a gladiator in those times, and you lost your fight. Will anybody ask you, oh, do you want it easy now? Nobody cares. You're going straight to war again. You know. So Luther knows it. Luther knows it. You know?
That's the response that we wanted to hear. Did you
I tell you more. Yeah, I apologize for interrupting. I tell you more. We have the medicals already with Anne. He's got great MRI. All the tests are fantastic. He's fully alert. There's no reason why we can't go into the proper fight. Not as high profile as Chris Kongo, but someone top 150, no problem.
Right, just picking this back up with our Siesta because we had some bandwidth thieves on the line. Yeah, White Povetkin too. I remember post-fight you said that it was a fight you thought Dillian shouldn't have taken. It's a fight he now has to take. Talk to me.
Man, as I said, it'll be surprising if suddenly, after my prediction, I would change my mind and say, this time, Dillian is definitely winning. This time, Povetkin finding the resolution even more comfortable. I can tell you that now. This is my opinion. Let me tell you that the hype machine that Eddie and Matchroom had about Dillian and worldwide hyping up of Dillian with all these wins slightly scared Povetkin. I can tell you that. As much as a warrior he is, he wasn't sure what he has to deal with. As a boxing man, I knew what's going on. I knew he's a still aging Olympic champion against a really good kickboxing guy from Brixton. I knew it in my heart. So I thought this something of Povetkin will find a way, technically, intellectually, to equalize the situation and put the end to it. I mean, obviously he had some sort of crisis again, because there were moments of unconfidence and kind of not knowing what's going on. Now, as he experienced Dillian's level, Dillian's style and thinking and general understanding who Dillian Whyte is, watch what's going to happen this time. Povetkin came in as a hurricane, arrogant, very strong, very calculated and composed. Dillian got massive task in his hands to stay alive in that fight. Trust me.
So it's not necessarily more comfortable from a perspective that it will stop Dillian Whyte quicker, you believe? It's more of the fact that the rounds where he looked like he'd been shaken a little bit by Dillian, they won't happen.
Correct. Maybe happen, but Dillian needs to be, man, Dillian has to go banking. He has to go Russian roulette, all or nothing. That's what he has to do. I mean, if he thinks he's going to out-jab Povetkin and out-thinking, ain't happening. Trust me. You know why? Everything he thinks he's going to do to prolong the fight and have a tactical solution to it, Povetkin does better than Dillian. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's what it is. So you got really good fighter technically and intellectually. And so telling Dillian, oh, Dillian, take it easy. This is your tactics. Jab, ain't. No. Dillian needs to find this aggressive style, bullish attitude, youth on his side, possibly physical presence, and find the way to combine those attributes, bully Povetkin without getting hurt. Can he do that? I don't know. Doubt that. You know why? He can get counted by Povetkin. Povetkin also can go forward and do the damage. So I don't want to diminish Dillian, and I don't want to say, oh, don't listen to Siesta's interview because you completely lose confidence. But It's a hard task. Whilst Russian, it's like Povetkin, tasted blood once, man, it's a predator.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.